Right, I'm interviewing this lady today, or what I call interviewing. She's in Jersey and her name is...
Olarescu.
And why are you in Jersey?
Why am I in Jersey? I'm working on an arts project to do with the Romanian community living in Jersey. So I'm an artist in community, I suppose.
An artist in community. Which community? Today, is it totally adaptable because you're in Jersey, you're an artist in the Jersey community, or are you bringing a community with you?
In the Romanian community in Jersey. No, so normally I do work with different types of communities, and this time around I'm working specifically with the Romanian community who's based here.
Now the project you're actually involved in involves yourself representing Romanian, or you're Romanian, so that's it, Polish community and the Portuguese community. Are they any way connected to each other, these, or is it totally separate entities within the project?
Entities within the project, I would say probably yes. I mean, right. So the project is commissioned by Art House Jersey, who came up with the initiative. So they put out an open call for artists who are interested in from those specific countries who are interested in working with their nationals, I suppose. Right.
At the end of the period, how long is it? How many weeks do you say? 3
So
weeks?
it's a 6 week.
6 weeks. Oh, right.
6 weeks residency, which is basically enough time to sort of understand what the context of the island is and to meet the people you'd like to collaborate with or co-create with.
Right.
And then, so I'm halfway through it now. It's been about 3 weeks and I have about 2 weeks and a half left.
At the end of the 6 weeks, will you go away and produce your whatever you're going to produce, or will you do that here?
We're doing this here. We're trying to do this here. Obviously 6 weeks is not a long time to work with a lot of people and to really understand the context of a new place.
Right.
Because I think the only thing I add to this, I'm a newcomer on the island, so first I need to decipher all the politics and the social infrastructure, I suppose, of the place. So we'll probably the exhibition, so all of the work, which will probably be very different within these 3 projects, will be shown in May. Right. So until then, we have a tiny bit of time for reflection. But by the end of the residency, we should.
Do you meet and discuss your projects with each other, the 3 of you?
Yeah, we live together.
Oh, you live together. Well, that makes interesting talk at breakfast, doesn't it?
Always.
If the end of the period you start beginning to disagree, is that good or bad? Like if you say, "Oh, I've discovered this about Jersey," and there's somebody else says, "Well, I've discovered something totally different," would that be constructive or?
Well, luckily, I hope we're not a 3-headed monster who's making the same project. So I would hope that at least there's some, not necessarily disagreement, I guess that's, but there will be dissonance in these projects, right? And I guess we're working with very different communities. The Portuguese community has been here for almost 40 years. The Polish community is the second most numerous on the island, and the Romanian community is almost the newest on the island, so about 15, 17 years, probably at most 20. So we're talking about different aspects in time for these people and how these are replicated, which obviously also informs how the projects are made.
Yes, I did a little bit of research coincidentally on history after 1946, and I discovered a Madeiran girl who was killed on a motorbike here. Now, I thought that was 1946, that was a very long time. What on earth was a Madeiran girl doing here in 1940? She was an au pair. So obviously these things are not absolutely clear and finite, are they? You've got people do arrive in places, and so there could well be quite early Romanians here, no reason why they shouldn't be here.
For sure. I guess we're perhaps talking about the moment when there's already a large number of people so that they could be considered a community, a numerous enough, I guess a large enough community. But of course people have always been back and forth.
What are you discovering? You're speaking to lots of Romanians, I know. And you're doing research of, goodness knows, into the politics of Jersey, which is an interesting sounding project. I hope you've got a tin hat to wear when you're doing that. Can you tell us yet the sort of things you are discovering?
Perhaps. I'll try not to give too much away because obviously the exhibition is a few months away from now. But I think it will definitely be a project that talks about the realities of what life is really like on the island, beyond this wonderful, this wonderful place with pristine nature and conservation initiatives and people who are incredibly friendly and who leave their their doors open and nobody locks their cars. So all of this is wonderful, but I guess the question is what's kind of bubbling underneath. So in terms of like what I'm interested in the project is really trying to find a way in which the voice of the community can be heard, in which specific stories or incidents or opinions or ideas or approaches or whatever it is that they want to platform can be platformed, so that they feel like they can perhaps at least have an equal voice in this.
What sort of areas are the Romanians happy to talk about to you?
Everything. Everything. They've been incredibly welcoming. I've been so lucky. People have reached out and said, sure, let's have coffee, let's have tea, let's have a drink, let me take you to my workplace, let me show you the best place in Jersey. You know, they've been incredibly supportive, and I guess everyone's really keen to see what the work will be. So am I. I'm still compiling. I'm at that stage where I'm still really trying to understand.
And you're engaging with their employers, for example, the people they actually who aren't the Romanians, but the people they work for, and you engaging with them?
No, not engaging at that level. I think I ask questions about who they work for and what their lives are like, but not engaging with the actual employers, no.
Of course, there's a great event going on here in June, so your project will be officially terminated before then, so the election. You pity you're not here if you're pursuing that to see the fruits of the political activities in this island, isn't it? Are you meeting any politicians?
No, I haven't so far. No.
Of course, there isn't you can't be a Romanian member of parliament here, or the states as they call it, but you can be Romanian and vote. You can be Romanian and British if you care to take the dual nationality. You can do that, and you can stand.
If you have the money, yes.
Yes, I mean,
£1,600.
What's that for, Jude? What's your understanding?
Well, to get a passport, that's how much.
To get a passport,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Indeed, that's right, yes.
And the Life in the UK test.
They have tried a couple of attempts to change the law so that Romanians could stand for election, or other nationalities. And I see no reason why they shouldn't. I mean, it seems to be perfect. But they always cite the example, well, if you're in another country, they won't let you do it. If you go to Romania, you can't stand for their government, so why should you be able to do it? Which I suppose has some element to it, but...
Of course, but there's also it's in a way it's a very rigid conservative way of looking at the issue, right? Because we all have bad politics is universal, right? The question is not what we're doing worse in our countries, but what is it that we can actually change in this specific moment wherever we are, right? Like what can we actually change? I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but if you do decide to become British, you have to do the Life in UK test. You have to learn for this test, and you have to read a book that tells you that Margaret Thatcher was the greatest leader of the country.
Well, some people would say that's true, of course.
So there are ways, very different,
Strange
ways
enough,
that you're meant to learn.
This very day, I was looking up, trying to work out who has to take the speaking English test, because it's not only for applying for a passport, and I couldn't actually find the definitive answer, because that was one of the immigration rules that were brought in. You have to have a standard of English. Do you encounter people? I mean, obviously there will be Romanians here who don't speak much English, so have we any idea what happens to them? What will happen? How do they get on in Jersey?
I don't know. I haven't encountered any who don't speak English,
No.
and also who don't speak good English.
Right.
Traditionally, specifically in Eastern European countries, people learn foreign languages in school. It's not difficult for us to learn foreign languages. People really try their best, I guess, even when they don't, And then there's the necessity and adaptability, and I don't think anyone comes here not wanting to learn the language.
How many years have you been speaking the English language?
I don't know, too many.
Because you speak it absolutely perfectly, word perfect as they would say. So I wonder how many years it would take me to learn Romanian to the same standard. Do you think 100 years would do it for me?
155, I'd say, given our grammar. I wish you good luck.
Have you ever undertaken a similar project to this one you're doing in Jersey?
Yes, quite a few. I mean, well, they all depend, but I guess the similarity is that I always work within certain communities and normally within underserved communities. So I really try to find a way in which people's voices in which people can really become co-creators in culture, in which they can get an equal platform for their voices to be heard, and for these art projects to actually slowly, probably not change, but at least permeate a tiny bit of policy.
By what medium will your end result be made available?
I will leave that as a question mark for now.
Really?
Yes, well, you'll have to come to the exhibition.
Will it involve you dressing up in an outfit, or will you make a performance? Or because I know you have a bit of a theatrical background.
I do, but I don't think it will though. But no, I again, I don't want to give out too much away.
Okay.
And also, I'm still at the stage where I'm kind of compiling information.
It could yet change.
It could definitely change, and that's a very, very fortunate thing. You know, I'm very flexible in that approach. I think it's about. I think whatever form it is, it's not so much about the form.
When your creation, whatever it is, this manifestation does take place, will it be available for people to have a repeat? You know, like, is it going to be like something they can see again, or will it be strictly a one-off presentation when you?
I guess it depends on the format, but as far as the exhibition is planned, it's on for 3 weeks in May.
Oh, right.
So
And the three groups all be there. The three different. Oh, will they?
yeah. So the works will be shown together.
Right.
In the same space.
Right.
Now, obviously, depending on each project, like maybe some are replicable, maybe some are not. And again, at this stage, I'm not going to divulge too much.
Well,
so it could be, you know, perhaps it's a book I have written in these 6 weeks, and you can
right.
read it in your own time. You don't have to catch
well, I
it
feel
together.
sure the public will be queuing at the door already just at the sound of it. Well, it's been very nice talking to you.
Same thing.
I'm not sure I've learned a great deal,
time.
but have you learned anything with your visit so far? Talking to me, I mean.
I've learned a lot, yes.
Have
I've
you?
definitely learned a lot, yes.